Hello everyone, this is Melissa with Enchanted Emerald bringing you your mid-year review for the fire signs. Okay, so that's looking at you, Aries, Sag, Leo, Sun, and Rising. So as we look into the energy, first and foremost, I'd like to introduce the deck that I'm using. I'm using the Light Seers Tarot, and beautiful artistry here. And so different cards have actually come up for you guys. A couple of the same ones, of course, than the other elements. But before we get to this, I just wanted to say, I really feel tapping into your energy, you guys, that this is one where you might have felt broken at some point in the past. And this is where you're going to be put back together and you're going to feel like you're a new person. So whether you have actually in the last 6 months felt as though, man, I have reached my breaking point, I feel broken, whether this is an emotional breaking point, you feel broken inside, breaking yourself down to rebuild that, whether this is something from the past that is now being, revisited emotionally and you're trying to rebuild yourself anew. Whatever that looks like for you, this is really the energy as I tapped in. This is what I'm feeling, okay? I feel as though some of you fire signs out there might really have a mentality here that, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? But sitting in that space, I do feel as though you might just be getting by, okay? And when you sit back and look at that, is that something that is acceptable to you? Do you want to just get by or do you want to thrive? That's the question that I pose to you before we start looking at the cards and really getting into the reading, right? Because we really want you to be able to thrive. We want you to feel good. We want you to be excited and have all the joy. And I'm getting really big chills with this. So this is a big validation here that this is something that, you're really going to contemplate as you kind of work through this reading or as you work through the next 6 months, okay? Now I feel like you want to be established, and it's your right to feel established and feel supported by the universe, and we all are supported by the universe. And so I want you to start to look for those signs around you, right? The angels are always there for us. We have to sometimes ask for their help, and sometimes they come in the help of others, right? And so being open to receiving that help and allowing ourselves to keep an open mind throughout the whole process is always helpful, because we want to be mindful that we're not talking ourselves out of situations and that others may not be talking us out of something that is actually meant for us. And so that's something to be mindful of as you kind of move through the next 6 months as well. So looking at the cards here, first and foremost for January to June of 2022, so the last 6 months, we had several cards actually come out for that. 4 of Wands, so this happy, loving, joyful, stable energy, right? Coming in with the Justice card. Now, Justice is always a good card. Sitting in a space where you are feeling on top of the world almost, right? Because we have the Empress coming after that too. Now, I love the Empress. Empress is also one of my favorite cards. And you also had another one of my favorite cards here for the next 6 months. We'll get to that. But the Empress is one where you sit in an energy where everything flows to you that you need. You don't really have to put a lot of effort into anything. It's just happening for you, and that's an amazing energy to be in. And you can see the Empress here looks as though she is pregnant with new ideas, very fertile energy for establishing new things, right? So I love that. The World, feeling on top of the world energy, right? Completing lessons and moving into new energy. And, Knight of Pentacles, he comes in a kind of slow, but it's stable, grounded energy. And when you have stable energy that's coming in slow, that's something that's long lasting, and you can't beat that. You can't beat that. And then we round out the 6 months, so it would be like current energy here in this June 2022. The Ace of Pentacles and King of Cups, okay? So really feeling as though, you might feel that some of these ideas and things like that have been coming to you. You've been getting little tidbits of information, perhaps from the universe here and there, and you're starting to see the puzzle pieces kind of start to come together, where you're getting a little bit of a picture of like, gosh, if I were to follow these breadcrumbs and follow all of these all the advice that had been coming into you with these ideas, right? You could start to see where the bigger picture could form, and you could start to really benefit from having followed all of those things. I feel as though you're probably not in a space where you have followed all of those things that have come through, or maybe you only followed a couple. Maybe you haven't followed any of the advice with these ideas that you have been getting from your higher self, right? Or the universe, however you refer to that. So your own intuition or your angels, right? So there's probably information coming from a lot of different places, but whatever that looks like, it's overdue though, right? Like you're sitting in a space where you feel like, gosh, I really need to do something though. And it's a space where you really want to be able to bring these ideas into a physical reality now though, right? But you're just sitting in a space where maybe, gosh, I'm not really sure how to make this happen. You really want to start to work on infusing some of these ideas, or start to trickle in to your physical reality in some way or another, and infuse them and bring them to life somehow. But you're really just not sure on how. Now, I will say this could be a little bit more of a spiritual journey for you and making things happen here, because I do feel as though this is acting with faith, acting on the belief that everything can and will work for you and turn out in your favor. Okay, so if you believe that firmly and then you start to take some action steps, you have to act without knowing what the outcome will be. That's your faith stepping in, right? Believing in yourself. If you can do that wholeheartedly, then that is the biggest key here to making those dreams a reality. Now, I do feel that for some of you, you might feel that taking action on some of these would be more trying to make your dreams a reality, right? Like finding a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. You almost feel like, gosh, that's such hogwash. It's nonsense. You really tend to stick with things that are very predictable. If it's tangible, if it's something that you can see, it's something that you can touch. You want real results, right? And you want real fast results as well. And so you tend to stick to things that you know are going to work, and that's what you tend to put your energy into. You really don't like to, you like to be hard and fast in getting results, right? You don't really like to put your energy and time into things and not know for certain that it's going to work out. And that is where just having this trust with the universe and just acting on that faith, I'm telling you, if you did one of those things, right, and stepped into that energy, I promise you, Spirit, universe will show up for you in a big way, especially if that is not your normal way of handling things, okay? Now, as you do that, you'll be moving into a new energy, right? Perhaps you did already in this last 6 months do that and started already to create this momentum as you moved into this new energy. And now you're like, wow, that's really cool. I'm going to really try to get myself into a space where I'm looking at all the details, right? Because now you're really paying attention. You're really like, okay, what is my higher self trying to say? What are the angels trying to say? Are you seeing angel numbers? Because if you're seeing those angel numbers, that means you're on the right track, right? And really trying to pay attention to all of the signs and put all those pieces together, right? Now, I feel like in the past, perhaps, or maybe even in the last 6 months, you've had to move out of an energy of maybe having limitations, right? Where you have maybe always said to yourself, like, gosh, I know my limits, right? I feel that statement is almost a blanket statement that has been used as a protective measure, like a coping mechanism, a defense mechanism in which you put a mask on right? To keep yourself from ever having to go past your comfort zone. And this is the time to take that mask off. It's time to move beyond that statement. It is time to put that statement to the side and really say, you know, like, what are my limitations? And start to grow into learning really what are your limitations. How do you know that that is your limit? Did you ever try something new? And if you failed at it, is it because you just need to tweak how you're doing that, right? Being willing to take the risk, being willing to fail at that and learn and grow from that and change how you're going about it to grow more, right? And to really see, that's how you're going to get those tangible results that you want, right? So it's kept you in this state of avoidance. It's kept you feeling safe. Okay, this is where you need to take that risk. This is where really bringing your dreams into a reality is about taking that risk. Now, I do feel like maybe you have stayed in this safe space for personal reasons. So the word recovery is coming through. So perhaps in the past you've been through something and this really, really had a deep impact on you. Whether that impact was emotional, whether it was financial, whether it was in a relationship, whether it happened in a relationship, or whether it was something that you went through personally, whether this was an actual recovery, right, from substance abuse, you are feeling like, you know, this is something that has limited you in some way, right? You don't want to ever go back to that space, and so you're good where you are, and you don't want to disrupt that. And I fully understand that, okay? But in that space, we're going to go back to that first statement that I said at the beginning of this video when we talked about how their energy here is that you've been broken, and now it's time to put yourself back together in a new way. Have you been broken and got yourself back together okay, but is the vase still open to hold the flower? Do you need to crack it back open and put it back together so it can actually blossom, right? Hold the blossoms of life, right? The actual flower. And so that's a good question to kind of pose to yourself here, because this is where, yes, you've had that space where you've been broken, and so now every step forward you have to understand that this is something you're doing for you, right? And that this is something that's breathing life into you, right? This is how you, as the flower in that vase, is going to blossom, or how that vase, you, will open up to hold a blossom, right? And so this is an actual recovery of self. Learning to be you again on the other side of what had that impact on you, right? On the other side of that financial issue, on the other side of that personal issue, on the other side of who you were as that broken. And I say broken with quotes because we're not broken. We're all a work in progress. We're all here learning and growing. Right? We're all here making mistakes to learn and grow. That's the whole purpose, and feeling our feelings along the way. And so through that whole process of going through what you went through, you learned so much about yourself. And now you can take that and apply that into this newer and improved version of you, right? And so now you can blossom and help other people, and blossom and learn what your limitations are now, right? And learn what you can learn about navigating the world now as you are now. And that is exactly what I feel with that King of Cups here. If you're willing to do that work, to really dig deep, to stand against that that belief of this is what I have to be, or what I have to do, right? Nobody says that that's what you have to do or who you have to be, right? You can go against the grain. You can confront that shadow self, right? Is this just a fear thing? Is it something that I've been taught, right? That I learned? And is this what's keeping me kind of stuck in this same spot? And can you challenge yourself to believe that you're worthy of having your dreams be a reality? And that is what this King of Cups energy really means. And I really feel like digging deep, confronting that shadow self, bringing those things out into the light and confronting those things that are really keeping you in this place is going to make you so much stronger, and then bring you into that energy of that Ace of Pentacles, your opportunity of a lifetime. And so that's where you sit right now, June 2022. So what do we have here moving into June through December? So the last 6 months of this year, big energy. I love it so much. June through December, fire signs, we have the wheel. Wheel is turning, bringing in a new fortune for you. And so this is like wheel in the sky keeps on turning. That's really what I hear with that. So I love that energy. We also had these 3 cards come out. This is one of my other favorite cards of the whole deck. And this is 8 of Cups. This is walking away from what no longer serves you, what isn't fulfilling, to go search for your other 2 cups. Because the full 10 of Cups is what is your ultimate emotional fulfillment, right? So this person's walking away from like a burning bowl, right? Which I would say is like the dumpster fire. And walking toward the sun. Something that makes them happy. Joy, right? The sun would represent joy to me. And it was accompanied with 5 of Swords. 5 of Swords is a little bit of a conflict, right? Whether that's an internal conflict, something that's happening in your external. And then there's 5 of Cups, a little bit of remorse, regret, kind of looking to the past, kind of trying to figure things out. And then the last 3, beautiful energy here. To round out your whole year, love it so much. Queen of Cups. With the Chariot, ushering in new things, right? That's your light and dark, your shadow and your light, right? Integrating them both and flowing with the High Priestess. Just flow. That's exactly what I feel with the High Priestess here. Now, I feel with that internal conflict, it could be an internal conflict, it could be an external conflict. It's really pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone, or even the thought of pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone could really have you feeling stressed. In your external, it could look like, whether it's you that's actually jumping to conclusions, or in your feelings, other people could be also jumping to conclusions, maybe about you, if you are making decisions to walk away from something, and it doesn't fit the mold of how they see you, of what they think you should be doing, right? Everybody has a version of you in their mind that they really connect with, right? Whether it's maybe an expectation that they have of you, that they're placing upon you, right? Nobody determines your happiness. Nobody determines your future but you. You make those choices for yourself. And so when you realize that these people could be projecting those expectations onto you, their fears onto you, their worries onto you, and you realize that when they do that, that is a reflection of how they're feeling and not how you should feel necessarily about what's going on externally, or what's going on on your heart. It's really about confronting again your abilities to move beyond your current situation, your abilities to move past your comfort zone. And the only person that is going to have to believe in themselves and know that they can handle it and their abilities to do so is you. And that is the most important thing, is to remain confident in yourself throughout this whole process. Okay? Now, I feel like with this walking away, like I said, dumpster fire. That's what it really feels. This could be emotions, right? Leaving emotions in the current situations, leaving that there, right? Burning it all up, leaving it behind, right? Because it's in the water. And I feel as though you are walking away from that dumpster fire, whether that is a job, whether that is a relationship, whatever that looks like for you, however that resonates for you. It could be just any situation, but I really feel there's this big shift with that energy in which you are taking your power back. Because I feel like the whole situation, like with the conflict there, is really, with things that are happening, you are just tired. You're infuriated with people jumping to conclusions. And honestly, with whatever's happening in that situation, you just feel like, gosh, I don't know if I can go the rest of this life living with that situation, or living with that person, or working in that environment, whatever that looks like, right? So you are just desperate for reprieve because you feel like it's a life sentence to have to continue to stay. And so you're walking away from it, and you're done, right? And that is where, I feel like what you're looking at in the past with this Five of Cups, sure, you could have some regrets about the situation. You could feel like these are regrets in which things could have transpired in the past to lead up to this situation, and it could have been so different. Or it could be regrets of like how you handled a certain situation, or how you handled even leaving the situation. Perhaps you've already left the situation and moving into this next 6 months already. But, I feel like whatever that is, I feel like the bigger energy of that Five of Cups is you really looking within and seeing there's patterns. Seeing this is happening here and now and in this situation, but it's also happened to me in the past in this situation. Oh, and that situation was pretty similar. And so you're now starting to see repeating patterns, and you're seeing that this is something that you can do something about. And that is part of confronting your shadow self. You're saying, I can do better, and I'm going to do better, and this is how I'm going to do better. You're setting yourself up for success. You are making an action plan to actually overcome that. And that is you working on you. Nobody is responsible for yourself but you. And when you start to change how you respond in different dynamic of situations, the whole energy shifts. Nothing will ever be the same. Nothing will ever, nobody else will ever respond the same. The energy won't be the same. The pattern won't be the same. You're leveling up. You're showing the universe, gosh, I'm the boss. And you know what? I aced that test because now I know I did wrong. I understand what I did, and I'm not going to do that again. And I'm getting big chills, validation. You're moving into new energy. And the whole way you're moving through life, you move different. And you act different. And when you do that, the universe responds different. They start delivering you different, right? They're like, oh, wow, look at that person. They really bossed up, and I'm going to show them. Okay, cool. We're going to give them this now, or her this now. And let's see how they respond in that, right? It's like you get little rewards, right? It's still you taking action and moving forward. Sure, you're going to have similar situations, tests, if you will. They're going to test you. Did you really learn? You're going to get presented with some of the same things, and you're going to be like, oh no, I'm not falling for that one again, right? You're moving differently though. And that is how you're putting yourself back together in a new way, because you're responding differently. You're never going to move the same. You've learned so much. You've grown so much. You're a new person. And so that's where you're learning to master your flow and ride the wave. When we talk about riding the wave, that's riding the wave of what's coming in the future, riding the wave of your emotions, right? They're something that comes and goes. Your emotions come and go. They do not define you, even though sometimes they're pretty intense, right? But in the end, they let up and you move into a different emotion. So really be focusing on how it is you want to feel as you ride that wave. I feel as though you might feel like you've had capped potential. Capped potential, capped earning potential. Perhaps you're walking away from a situation because you don't feel like you're getting paid what you're worth. And I feel like with that, it's a realization that you had to come to, and I feel it's a realization with this that you determine your worth, and that's where this Queen of Cups energy is, right? Just like, I'm done, right? You don't determine what I'm worth. You don't determine what's important to me. I know what's important to me. I know where my time and energy is supposed to be allotted, you know, or where it's supposed to be allocated to. And I know what's important to me. And I know how much being connected with other people makes me feel so good. And that's where my energy should be focused. And as you start to shift your focus, abundance follows. And so that's where you know what your energy is worth, right? And this is where you know what's worth investing your time in, right? What's important to you and what's important investing your time in. And I just feel like with this High Priestess, I'm not sure if you can really see, but beyond that like eyeshadow, the eyes are open beneath the eyelids, right? Because, well, when we close our eyes are still there. But it's about seeing with our eyes closed. So what is it that you see with your eyes closed? This is about an expansion of the mind, right? How it goes up, the expansion of the mind. So tapping into that potential, right? Not just your financial potential, right? You're going to be tapping into the universal potential. So you have divine abundance available to you. You have divine creativity available to you. Like everything just feels like the possibilities are limitless. Now, where do you want to take yourself? Anything that you want, you can envision it. It can come into fruition, right? And so there's a vision that you hold. Maybe you get a vision when you meditate and it's a repeated vision and you're not 100% about it. Maybe you are 100% about it. Maybe you're like, what vision? What are you talking about? Maybe you have to meditate on that a little bit more, because I feel like for some out there listening, this is going to be a vision that you've had as a child that's going to come back to you. And you're going to be like, whoa, how come I forgot about that? That was so important to me growing up, and I don't know how I lost my way. For others of you, it will be shown in your dreams to you. And you'll have a repeated dream over and over. And maybe you know exactly what I'm talking about right now as I talk about it, but you'll realize how these new ideas that you've been presented with over the last, 6 months or so, or maybe even longer, right? How they relate to that vision. And how it is important in bringing that vision to life that you follow these steps now. These ideas that the Empress had brought in, right? That these, new ideas and things to make your dreams a reality, and all coming together in that puzzle piece, that it's all coming together and you're realizing that, oh my gosh, this is all the steps I need to take to make this vision a reality, and this is my dream. And as you start to take action and do those things, again, like I said, it's breathing more life into you. It's assisting you in your recovery, assisting you in your self-exploration, assisting you and bringing you new life, right? And building a new life for you, because this, you realize now, will be your way to survive. Now, when I say survive, a lot of people go into like, whoa, survival mode, like basics, right? Like breathing, eating, sleeping, right? You might eat, breathe, and sleep these ideas into reality because you just want it to happen like yesterday. And because it's life-giving. It gives you life as you take these actions. And when I say that, it's because it builds you up. It will bring you more ideas. The more you act on them, the more ideas will come to you. The more abundance will come to you as you act on them. The more energy it gives you, because it's energizing, right? It doesn't take from you. It doesn't deplete you as, say, maybe this situation that you were in where you weren't getting paid enough and you were working your butt off. This is different. This is passion behind this. This is passion that's fueling you. And so as you go forth making your dreams a reality with this, you realize this is what you should have been doing all along. And you realize how this can support you. And so this is exactly what you're going to be working yourself into in the next 6 months. You're going to be taking these actions and you're going to start to see the little puzzle pieces kind of slide themselves in and fit themselves together. And as you do that, you're building your dream into your physical reality, and you yourself as a person, yourself, your vision of self starts to grow and change, right? The base maybe cracks and whatever, and it comes back together in a new way, and it creates this beautiful new form. And you realize you can get a whole bunch more flowers in there because now you can blossom so much more. And you can feel more joy. And you can feel more at peace, right? And going with the flow and just following your intuitive guidance the whole way. And so this is a beautiful energy to be in, fire signs. So I love this reading for you so much. And I do so hope that this resonates for you in some way, shape, or form. If it does, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. What are some ideas? What are some angel signs you've been seeing? What are you walking away from? Let me know. I'd love to hear about it in the comments here. If you haven't yet subscribed to my YouTube, please don't hesitate to do so, so that you're in the know of all the new and amazing content as it is released. If you're interested in your own personal reading, I'd love to be able to do that for you. You can hit me up on the Square site pinned in the comment section below to book a session with me. Or if you need a healing session, those also can be done remotely. As always, I will be back with another reading for you guys again soon. And until next time, be kind to one another. Thank you. Take care.